These are the smart casters from a company called Bennington Manufacturing. And as far as I'm aware, they're the first casters of their kind. And they just might be the workshop casters of your dreams. At least they are for me. So today, we're gonna do a detailed review and install of these. I'm gonna tell you all about them, whether it be good, bad, or weird. All for the purposes of helping you decide if it's something you wanna add to your shop. And if it is something that you decide you wanna add to your shop, or just take a closer look at, as always, I'll include links in the description below, as well as the YouTube shopping tab when available, and QR codes on the screen. All right, let's get to it. Now, the first thing you might ask is, who even is Bennington Manufacturing? Well, they're based out of Pennsylvania, and they've been in steel fabrication for over 40 years. And they do everything in-house: cutting, welding, machining, and powder coating. They've done custom work for companies like Disney and Universal, and their products are US made, not just rebranded imports. And the Smart Caster is one of their signature products. So I reached out to Bennington Manufacturing when I was going to make this video because the casters that I have, I got almost a year ago. So I wanted to see if there had been any changes made since then. And they actually did make some changes. And they sent their latest casters out for me to take a look at. But to be clear, they're not paying me or asking me to say anything in particular. I just really like these things and I want to show you guys how they work. So these are the updated R7 and R8 Smart Casters. And the only real difference between the two is the size and the weight capacity. The R8 is slightly bigger and has a capacity of 800 pounds spread across all four casters, while the R7 has a capacity of 600 pounds. One weird thing about these casters is probably just their name. The R8 makes sense because it has a capacity of 800 pounds. R8, 800 pounds. The R7 has a capacity of 600 pounds. I don't know, maybe it should have been R6, like R8, 800, R6, 600. No? Is that just me? I don't know. But regardless, R8, 800 pounds, R7, 600 pounds. Now, before I talk about the improvements in the casters, let me first talk about what makes these casters unique in the first place. And that's just simply the way you use them. Yes, they roll like any other caster, but what makes these special is the way you engage and disengage the locking mechanism. On most casters, you have to go around to each individual caster and engage or disengage the caster with your foot, either by kicking up on some type of lever or pushing down on some pedal type thing. And it's a little bit cumbersome just because you have to go around to each individual caster to unlock those wheels. And truth be told, on my old bench, I would typically just keep 2 casters locked and 2 unlocked and kind of drag my table around where it needs to go. And the other thing that's not really ideal about traditional casters is that you can't really hide them because, like I said, you have to go around to engage each individual caster every time you want to use them. But with these, you can put them either on the outside of the leg or the inside of the leg and hide them if you want to, because you don't have to go around and engage each one manually. The way you lock and unlock these casters is unlike any casters I've ever seen. You simply lift up on your workbench to unlock them and lift up again to lock them. And I keep saying workbench, but really you could put these casters on anything that needs wheels. But for the purposes of this install, I'm going to be putting the R8 caster on this workbench right here. Now, my workbench is pretty heavy. The top is solid oak, but it's nowhere near the 800 pound capacity. I'd estimate it's probably somewhere around 300 pounds with, of course, weighing more when I have a project on top of it. So what comes with the casters for the install? Out of the box, you get 4 casters, of course. You get 18 screws. That's 4 for each caster with 2 extra. You get an extended drive bit and extended drill bit, and you get some paper instructions. And in addition to that, the only other things that you'll need is a drill, a square, and a clamp. The first thing you'll want to do is find the location on the leg where you want to put the casters, whether it be on the inside or the outside. I have enough of an overhang on my workbench that I'm putting my casters on the outside. I'm not trying to hide them or anything like that. With the overhang on my bench, they're not going to stick out enough for me to ever trip on them, so I'm just putting them on the outside. So as you can see, I'm clamping the casters in place, but if you don't have room for a clamp, one of the things you might be able to do is put double-sided tape on the back of the caster and put it in place where you want it. It might hold. I tried that with mine. I put 1 piece of double-sided tape. It held for a little bit, but then fell off. I think if I would have just put 2 pieces on there, it probably would have been fine. The other thing you can do is just hold the caster in place manually. and then just mark your drill locations with a pencil. Move the casters out of the way, drill, and then screw in the caster. The other thing you'll see is that I have a square on the ground to make sure that things are square. But it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, like close enough will be fine. And from there, it's just using the extended drill bit that they provided to drill out each location for the screws. I actually only did 2 at a time because of where my clamps were located. I drilled the first 2 holes, put the screws in, removed the clamp, then did the next 2 holes. That seemed to work best for me. And after that, that's it. Just rinse and repeat 3 more times and you're done. Now, if you don't want to use this video to help you install the casters, the instructions they provide are actually pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward installation, so it's probably pretty hard to mess up the instructions, but they are good. They were useful and they were clear, and they also gave you some additional information if you wanted to mount these casters under a shelf or if you wanted them to be hidden. But real quick, before we go into a demo and the verdict on these casters, let's go over some of the improvements. First, if you have one of the previous models like I do, they still function in the same manner. So there's no need to go and throw those out and buy some new ones. I mean, I'm going to keep the ones I have on my bench. Now, one thing that these casters used to come with, if you've seen these before or you've seen some of the other previous videos, they used to come with a little set screw that you would remove when you install them. They no longer do that. They come with something actually way better now, I think anyway. And that's just a tab that you can remove easily once you install them. Now, if you accidentally remove this tab before you install them, it's no big deal. It'll go back on really easily. Of note though, the instructions still include removing the set screw. Also, there's the piston. On mine, the red aluminum piston has a plastic piece glued onto it. That's what makes the lock and unlock feature work. The new version does away with that completely. It's now one solid piece of CNC machined aluminum. No glue parts, no separate components. It's stronger, smoother, and just feels a little bit more precise when it moves. Next, there's the steel tube that's welded to the mounting bracket. The older version used a thinner 1 1/8 inch tube. The new one has a beefier 1 1/4 inch tube that's twice as thick. They also machine the inside to a really tight tolerance, and the threads are CNC directly into the tube instead of being added later. That means everything fits snug, feels more solid, and operates smoother. And finally, the piston rotation. On my set, you can actually see the red piston twist a little every time you raise and lower the caster. The twisting also turns the whole wheel assembly, which adds friction and stress. In the new version, the piston stays completely still. All the rotation now happens inside the steel housing, so the motion should be smoother and more consistent each time you engage it. And now for a little demo. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You just lift up on one end at least 1 1/2 inches, set it back down, go around to the other side, do the same thing. And you're able to move this thing anywhere it wants to go. These casters are omnidirectional, so it's super easy to move whatever you have them attached to. Like my workbench here can go a full 360 or anywhere else I want it to go. And when you have it in place, just lift up again and you're set. So there you have it. Those are the smart casters from Bennington Manufacturing. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.